honest with you, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, but it is absolutely the truth. Not too long ago, someone asked me, what do you want? Because I was telling them that I'm struggling with this move. Like, I just feel so, like, not grounded. Is ungrounded a word? I feel ungrounded. And my friend, a dear, dear friend of mine, she said, what do you want? And I couldn't even think of anything. I was just kind of in this, I don't know. I don't even want to go there. I don't want to go deeper. I don't want to go deeper. I don't know. I don't know what I want. But I think if all of us got really quiet, that answer would come to us. Like, what do you really want for your life? Both personal and professional, and like I said, everything in between. And right now, like, say it out loud if you can, or write it down really fast. Like, when I ask you that, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? What do you want? And if you can't think of anything, or maybe like one or two things, but you know there's so many more, here's another way to look at it. What do you not want? What do you not want anymore? It might mean that you have to examine your current life, your situations, your experiences that you're in right now, and maybe choose a few things that you're not necessarily happy with. What do you not want? Because looking at what you don't want will help you figure out what you want. But not looking at this at all is a sign that you're playing small. If you can't right now just tell me exactly what do you want out of your life? What are your goals? What are your dreams? What do you want? If that's hard for you to say, first of all, this is a judgment-free zone, so do not judge yourself, because I too struggled, and I just kind of let it be, like, ooh, that for some reason is a hard question for me right now. But I also knew that if I didn't examine it, I was playing small. So an example of playing small is not really knowing what you want out of life in general. I know these are big topics, but they're important. And I want today to be the last day that you play small in any area of your life. So my question is, what do you want? What do you want? So you may be playing small in some areas of your life, but you're here right now. You're at this event because I think deep down, really deep down in your heart, in those secret places that no one sees, you know that you are meant to be a big deal. You are meant to do big things in this world. I think that you know that deep down. And the thing is, I knew that deep down about myself as well. I played small for so many years. Like I said, I just didn't even make goals and just hope that I'd get lucky and things that would work out. And I didn't make goals because I didn't want to be disappointed. I mean, that's the ultimate playing small. But there was always this little voice in the back of my head that said, go bigger, take the leap, do it. And I'd squash it down like, shh, be quiet, that is dangerous. No. But I kept hearing it, take the leap, go bigger. And I finally got fed up, and I did. But it actually took a moment in my life that shook me to my core. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'll tell you what that moment was, but I'm going to tell you right now, you don't need a moment to shake you to your core, to actually decide right now that you're a freaking big deal and you're going to do something about it. Like, you are a big deal. I just need to say that right now. You are a big deal. You have already, and you will continue to do big things in this world as long as you do not allow yourself to play small in any area of your life anymore. You don't need a moment in your life to shake you, to say enough is enough. But unfortunately for me, I had to have that moment. So here's what happened. If you don't know me, I am an online entrepreneur, and I help especially females create online businesses. And I do that through helping people build email lists and take their expertise and knowledge and know-how and turn that into a profitable digital course. That's what I do. That's what I teach. Somewhere along the way, I kind of lost my footing. So I started my business back in 2009. And a few years in, I decided that I didn't want to do it alone. So I had almost hit the $1 million mark in my business, but it felt hard. Building a business is hard. And I got a little bit scared a couple years in. And I decided I needed to add a partnership to my business. And I had a really great friendship with another peer, and we talked about it, and he became a partner in my business. Just like that. I hardly gave any thought to it. I thought that he would kind of save me from the fear I felt and the awkwardness and feeling scared to go big in my business. Yeah, all that came up for me. And I thought, well, if I bring him into the business, I won't be alone and it will feel better and it will be all okay. So I brought him into the business as a partner. And for a few years, things were amazing. We made a lot of money. I feel like I made a really big impact for my audience and my students. We were doing amazing things. But the truth of the matter, a few years into this partnership, I fully lost myself. I started to not speak up, do it alone. So I had almost hit the $1 million mark in my business, but it felt hard. Building a business is hard. And I got a little bit scared a couple years in. And I decided I needed to add a partnership to my business. And I had a really great friendship with another peer, and we talked about it, and he became a partner in my business. Just like that. I hardly gave any thought to it. I thought that he would kind of save me from the fear I felt and the awkwardness and feeling scared to go big in my business. Yeah, all that came up for me. And I thought, well, if I bring him into the business, I won't be alone and it will feel better and it will be all okay. So I brought him into the business as a partner. And for a few years, things were amazing. We made a lot of money. I feel like I made a really big impact for my audience and my students. We were doing amazing things. But the truth of the matter, a few years into this partnership, I fully lost myself. I started to not speak up. I started to literally ask him for permission to do things in the business. I would look to him for what was working and what wasn't working. Now, remember, I started this business, but I just looked to him for everything. I got scared. I started really playing small, and I just let him lead the way. And so I lost my voice. And it was 1,000,000% not his fault. It was all my choice. But somehow along the way, I lost who I was. I lost my mojo. I lost my confidence in building an amazing business. And again, I just kind of let him call the shots. And I kind of hid a little bit. I became smaller. Remember what I said in the beginning? From an early age, I thought that when you go big and you play big and you stand out, you have to be different. It feels awkward. It feels scary. And when I was young, I decided I don't want to feel any of that. Well, it started to kind of rush back. I was forefront in my business. I was playing a big game. Things were going good, and I got scared. So I took on a partner. I kind of let him lead the way, and I lost my voice. And it took a good girlfriend. Isn't it always a good girlfriend? It took a good girlfriend to ask me, what are you doing? What's happening here? You're not happy. You're not yourself. Something's off. And I hated that she brought that up, but she was totally right. And so after she started asking those questions, I started asking myself, what's wrong? What's missing here? What's not working? And I knew it was my partnership. And so to fast forward, a very long, very scary story for me. It got to the point that I couldn't figure out how we were going to get out of this partnership. We weren't really seeing eye to eye. There was a lot of money involved, and I didn't think we could come to an agreement. And there was a lot of tears on my end throughout this whole year of figuring out, what are we going to do? And there was a moment where I thought I would lose my business. I thought that we'd have to dissolve the business because we both couldn't agree how to get out of it. And I wanted to take the business back, and we couldn't agree on what that would look like. And so I thought it would come down to dissolving the business. And the business was my identity. It was my baby. I had birthed did this business, and it was doing incredibly well. And I thought it's going to have to just like burn up in flames. And I cried and cried for probably a month over that. And then one day I heard that voice, like, take the leap, go for it. And I don't know what it was. I feel like it was God and magic kind of mixed together. But I woke up one morning and I said, okay, then let it burn. I can always start over. I can always do this again because I did it before. Before I was playing small. I didn't have a voice. I was scared at every turn. I let somebody else lead. And then it got so bad and so scary that I thought I'd lose it all. And I had to surrender. And I said, fine, I'll lose it all and I'll start over. And in that moment, I started to play big. And what that looked like for me is that I started to dream bigger. Well, what would be possible if I had to start over? What would I do? How would I show up? What would I do different? I started to paint this picture of all of these possibilities of what life could look like once I lost this thing that I cherish so very much. And the miraculous thing of this all is once I started to play a bigger game, dream bigger, started to take actions toward making changes, we came to an agreement. And I got my business back. I didn't have to burn it all down, but I was willing to, because in that moment, that morning I woke up and said, I'm done. I'm fed up. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of feeling bad about this. I'm tired of being scared at every turn. I want to play a bigger game. And when I made that commitment, things started to fall into place. And I really do believe that can be true for you as well. When you make a new decision, you can literally have a different kind of life. So we, my friend, we need to make some decisions right now, because we're not ending this little presentation here without you committing to playing a bigger game. And I've got an exercise that I'm going to walk you through. We're going to get to work. If you don't know me, then you don't know that I'm an action by action, step by step kind of girl. It's how I teach. It's how I do everything I do. We're going to get into action. Step by step. I've got steps that you're going to take to make some decisions right now so that if any area of your life you're playing small, we're literally going to stop that right now. So are you ready? I hope you just answered yes. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I know that your version of playing big could look dramatically different than my version of playing big. We all have different life experiences, all different expectations and needs and wants in this world. So your version of playing big is the only version that matters. And so we need to get clear on that. And I'm going to take you through an exercise. But what I need you to do right now, like really do, don't just pretend like you're going to do it. Really do it. Grab a notebook and a pen. Grab a notebook and a pen. Or if you want, you can do it on your computer. But I feel like when you actually write it down, when you do the journaling exercises I'm going to have you do, it just brings it to life and it gets it into your body in a deeper way. So if you've got a notebook near you and a pen or a pencil, whatever, grab it, because we're actually going to do the exercises together. I'm going to give you time to actually do the writing prompts. I promise you, if you do this, if you stick with me, it's going to go by fast. But if you stick with me, you can literally walk away from this knowing how you're going to play a bigger game. Okay? Are you in? Are you going to do this? Say yes. Like, I wish I could hear you right now. I wish I could see you. I want you in this fully. So get ready. All right? So sit up straight. Get ready. I'm actually even going to play a little music for you when you're doing your journaling. You can turn me down if you don't love it, but I want you to like get into this right now. Okay. So here we go. The first thing you're going to do, I'm going to actually bring up a slide, is you're going to write down what it means for you to be a big deal in this world. This is step one. Write down what it means for you personally to be a big deal in this world. Now, I've already given you examples, but I'm going to just go through them one more time. It might mean that you've created $1 million business, or maybe you've written a best-selling book. Or maybe you bought your dream house. Or maybe you got the courage to quit your job. Or maybe You finally start focusing on you. That's what it means to go big. You're focusing on you, your health, your mental health, your physical health, whatever that means for you. Or maybe you want to start a podcast. That looks like going big to you. You're going to start that podcast, finally going to do it. Or maybe you're going to sell everything and begin to travel the world. Like you are literally going big. Or maybe you want to contribute a big chunk of money to your favorite charity. Or maybe you want to start your own charity. Or maybe you want to finally let go of that relationship that is holding you back. So you're going to let go of something. That is an example of playing big, my friend. Or maybe you want to welcome something into your life. Maybe you want to commit to being open to love again. Whatever it looks like for you, I'm giving you so many different examples. But it comes back to step number 1. Write down what it means for you to be a big deal in this world. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to play some music for you. And if you don't want the music, you can turn me down. You've got 2 minutes. Let's go.
So who's listening with me? And I just broke another nail. I should have gotten up this morning and said, let me see how many things I can break, because then I would have succeeded. I broke a COVID rapid test. I broke a nail. We're listening to Amy Porterfield from the Day 3 replay from the Hay House Empowering Women conference, and you can register for free, and the replays stay up until 2:30 Pacific the next day if you don't have the paid version. And I wrote it in the chat on Haps, but there's people that are listening on other apps that won't see the comments in Haps. I had to cancel my COVID booster yesterday because I had a temperature that went up to 99.5, and the COVID vaccines have given me a fever that I tried to treat without ibuprofen so that my antibodies would build properly, so I wasn't going to go and get a COVID booster when I already had an elevated temperature. And I had swollen glands, which is why the acupuncture provider wanted me to take the COVID rapid test, which I broke the first one because I took I thought it was the adhesive you're supposed to take off, but I took off the test strip part. Anyway, the second one was negative. And they do have a high false positive rate.
Now, when I ask you, what do you want? Remember I asked you that earlier? What do you want? This is when you're writing that down. What do you want in your life? Because what you want is you playing a bigger game. They're totally aligned, my friend. So what do you want? Okay, step number 2. I want you to write down 3 ways that you need to show up to be this person. Who is this person? How does she think? How does she feel? How does she show up? What does she say to herself? What do her habits look like? How does she live her life? Like, what comes to mind when I ask you this? Write down 3 ways that you need to show up to be this person that plays a bigger game, who goes after what they want, who actually takes the risks, who is not afraid to fail because you just want to make it happen. Who is this person? How does she think? How does she feel? How does she show up? I'm going to give you 2 minutes to answer this question.
What I was saying was there's a high false negative rate for COVID rapid test, but if you have symptoms, then it's more likely to be accurate. But where would I have gotten COVID in the last 2 weeks? I didn't go anywhere. I only talked to people like at my door or outside my apartment, but because I had swollen glands and a temperature of 99.5, during a pandemic, it was reasonable to take a rapid test, and it was negative, and I called the number on it and asked about the broken test and asked about would it still work if the first swab I couldn't use and I had to do another swab, and was there even enough material on there for it to read properly, but I never really got an answer to that. And Barnex won't replace the test, but Rite Aid will. And if you want to get them at wholesale after what the president said last month, I think, the places you can get them for $14 for 2 tests is Walmart, Kroger, and Amazon, but Amazon doesn't have any. But if you go to Rite Aid, they're $24 for 2 tests. And I wasn't planning to retest in 36 hours anyway. Even though you're supposed to retest it, because I didn't think that it was COVID. But anyway, and I don't have a temperature right now. I think it's hormonal or combined with allergies. And I was looking up, can menopause make you have swollen glands? Maybe. I'm not positive, but it's apparently a possibility. And clearly I'm not participating by writing down 3 ways that I need to show up to be this person. Maybe I need to show up by talking to you.
We are moving on to the third and final step, and that is to write down 3 thoughts, beliefs, or habits that are keeping you playing small. So now that you know what it takes to play a bigger game, you know how you want to play a bigger game, you know how you need to show up. Well, right now, like the life you're living day to day, what thoughts are holding you back? What beliefs? What are the things that you believe that you know are not serving you? Or what habits, this is probably the easiest part of the question, what habits are you doing that are keeping you small? Let me give you an example. Sleeping in past your alarm clock. Seems so silly, not a big deal. But if you just get up when that alarm clock goes off, how much more can you get done that will lead you to the goals and the dreams that you set? Or, a habit that I have is when I get really stressed, I'll turn to foods that won't really fuel my body, like give me all the carbs or give me some sugar. And it slows me down and it takes my energy down. That's a habit that does not serve me when I'm playing a bigger game. But also just thoughts that maybe this isn't the right time. Maybe I should wait. Those are thoughts that are keeping you small. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Tell me, what are 3 thoughts, beliefs, or habits that are keeping you playing small?
What about the fact that I reacted badly to being home alone for 1.5 years at high risk during a global pandemic? That doesn't make me a failure. I did the best that I could, and even if the best that I could do sucked, I'm trying to do something about it now. I know, Yoda says there is no try. There's do or do not. So I'm doing what I can do, and I'm trying to be a public example so that maybe someone else will see my example and they won't give up either. Hello to the 4th viewer. And why does it say listen with me and not listen with us? Because Woof Woof and Bear and Bo and Sweet Potato all went to bed at 10 o'clock that they were supposed to. I'm the one that's sitting watching the 3 o'clock replay at 12:18 a.m. before it expires tomorrow. And I have a conference ticket to a conference in London that I think starts in like 2 hours. And I don't know if the ticket they gave me gives me access to the replays of that conference or not. But I have another conference that starts in the morning. And I'm not feeling great. So. And I know this Sprite has sugar in it, but it also is a liquid, and I think I'm dehydrated. Write down 3 thoughts, beliefs, or habits that are keeping you playing small. I don't particularly love the music she's playing in the background. And if you want to tell me where you're tuning in from, you can type it in the chat on whatever app that you're listening on.
Okay, so those are your 3 thoughts, beliefs, or habits that are keeping you playing small. Remember those, and when they show up, you're going to change the thought or change the habit right there in the moment. I didn't say this was easy, but I will promise you it's very much worth it. So there you have it. You are officially declaring that you are a big deal, and you are meant to play a big game in this world. You've identified what that looks like. You've answered the question, what do you want? And you've literally declared what it means for you to play a bigger game. And then you decided how you needed to show up, how you need to be in this world in order to move through the world knowing you're a big deal. And then you also declared some of the areas, the thoughts, the habits that are keeping you small. So you can identify them now. You know what they are, and when they show up, you can then address them right there in the moment. You've done some amazing work. And I want to say, can you imagine what life would look like for you if you move through this world knowing you're a big deal? Imagine the opportunities that will come your way. Imagine the possibilities, the doors that will open up. Imagine the people that will gravitate toward you because people love that kind of energy. You don't even know what's in store for you just yet, and I'm so excited for you to find out. And I want to remind you, Oprah, Brene Brown, Beyonce, all big deals, and they all know it and they own it. And this is your opportunity to own it as well. Starting now, own it that you are a big deal and you are going to do big things in this world. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with is that when you start to put that energy out into the world, that you are a big deal, life can get a little bit messy. You're going to be a disruption. People are going to think, who is she? Like, she's showing up in a different way. Your family might not recognize you. Your friends might see a change in you. You're just showing up different in this world. And that could disrupt things a little bit. It could get a little bit hard, a little bit shaky. And what you need to remember is your why. Why do you want to be a big deal in this world? Why do you want to do big things? Do you want to be an example for your kids? Do you want to be an example for yourself to prove to yourself you can finally do those things that you've always wanted to do? Do you want to leave a legacy? Like, what is your why? Because your why needs to be bigger than your worries. Instead of worrying about all the things that could go wrong, worrying about, well, what will people think? What will people say? All the worries about, well, this could go wrong or that could go wrong. Your why needs to be bigger than your worries. Because on the days that your worries knock you to the ground, kick you to the curb, your why needs to pick you back up, dust you off, and push you back into the world. Your why always needs to be bigger than your worries. So get clear on why you want it. Get clear on why it's important to you. Because that will pull you through on your hardest days. You are doing big things in the world. The time is now. You are worth it, and it's never too late. You are a big deal. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I feel so very fortunate to go on this journey with you, and I can't wait for you to do really big things in this world. Bye for now.
Hello,
Thank
Australia,
you,
my
Amy.
way.
So I love that. Our why needs to be bigger than our worries. And, you know, it reminds me, Louise would often say, don't think the thoughts that scare you. And we actually are empowered to shift our own thoughts. And, you know, in keeping with today's theme, really, ultimately, we're talking about worthiness. We're talking about self-worth and how so many of us hitch our worthiness to someone else's wagon, as I often like to say. And just for a moment, recognize, how are you currently trying to earn or prove your own worth? Is it by what you do for others? Is it by what you achieve or produce? Have you set this ideal of, when this happens or when I do this, then I'll be worthy? That when then equation is so treacherous. And the bottom line is, our worth is inherent. And all that matters is that you approve of you. And so I hope that that's sort of the flavor that you are picking up today. Next up, our third speaker of the day, we've got leading healthy lifestyle expert, Danette May, and she's going to give us tools to push beyond our self-imposed limitations so we can achieve our biggest dreams. Welcome, Danette.
Hello, everybody. Danette May here, and I am so honored and so excited to be spending this next 30 to 40 minutes with you. Thank you for your time. And here's what I want to tell you. I'm going to give you a little bit of snippet on me, but I also want to just let you know that I value your time. I value my time, and I just want to give you so much takeaways, things to implement right away to grow your life in the direction that your heart is asking you to step into. So before I get into the title, before I get into what you're going to gain over these next 30 minutes, I just want to say hello, introduce myself for those of you who may not be familiar with me. My name is Danette May, and I'm known in different avenues as the America's leading healthy lifestyle expert. And I've had the privilege of transforming over 3-4 million lives globally through different programs, products that I've offered. This has been a mission of mine to truly help women in particular rise up into their fullest, truest expression. And I love doing it through mindset hacks, tips, tools, so that you can go to the next level. This is my passion, and I need to share with you a little bit about my story to understand where this came from. I really took my mess and I made my message, and I've impacted my own life, but I've also, like I said, impacted a lot of other women's lives around the globe, and I want yours to be impacted as well. So you see this successful woman today, or this person who has books and programs, but really not too long ago, I was this woman who was not turned on, who wasn't listening to her intuition. And I was in this relationship, marriage, that wasn't my truth. I was operating not in my truth. I was afraid to live out of the paradigms of what my parents and the community had set for me. But what happened is, by me doing that, I turned off my intuition. And I was pregnant with my second child. And I don't share any of this to make you feel bad for me. I really want you to find your story in my story and why I show up the way I show up, because I know that all of our stories are interwoven and that we can grow and really learn and have empathy for one another through our stories. So for me, I was pregnant with my second child, and I was in that stage of not really listening to my intuition, following the paradigms, the belief systems that were imprinted on me from early childhood. And I was having this rare moment where I was rocking in the rocking chair. It was quiet, and I wanted to kind of feel him move. I knew he was going to be a little boy. I was about 6-7 months along, and I started moving my belly. And I noticed that he wasn't kicking. There wasn't any movement, even though I was jostling my belly around. And instantly the intuition came to me, you need to go to the hospital. But what happens when you're not turned on to your intuition, and when you're afraid to live into your truth, you get really good at turning it off because you don't want to face it. So I got up and I went and did the dishes. Later that evening, I started bleeding. I found myself at the hospital. And I came home a few days later without my son. He had come into this earth and had left. And this spiraled me into a really deep, deep depression. It was unknown territory that I'd ever been. I was unraveling. I started to feel like, what's going to happen to my life? How did I get here? How did I get so numb to my intuition? And it led me down a dark path, which ultimately led me to my light. And I just want to remind you that you can go through really hard things. You can have really difficult things happen in your life, and you also can have a massive joy, amazing gifts, miracles coming as well. As we all know, rock bottoms tend to find more rock bottoms, and I found myself in unknown territory of depression, unraveling my relationship, going through a terrible divorce, which led me to $47.63 raising two little girls. So here I am, this single mother, a head full of negativity, sold all my furniture, sleeping on the floor, got tinfoil holding up an antenna. I'm still recovering from the loss of my son, still owning and really looking at where have I gone so far and so astray in my life. And it led me down this path of really discovering the power of my mind, really discovering the power of food, the power of movement to heal depression, to not just heal depression and allow you to just be in life, but to thrive. I started using these tools to create the business that people see today, the relationship that I have today with my husband, to be able to have this close relationship with my children, to grow with true friendship, to have a more incredible health than I've ever had before, and to live out the life from the dreams that are in my heart. And today, what I want to do is help you grow and expand with the dreams that are in your heart, and how to be aware of upper limiting and to mitigate upper limiting. So how many of you know what upper limiting is? Because I think we all know what growth and expanding our dreams is, but what about upper limiting? So upper limiting is a scientific phenomenon around human behavior in the brain. Your mind tries to stop anytime you're growing beyond your comfort level or your known level. So let me give you an example when it comes to health or money. For example, maybe you have a dream to live in a certain home, or to go on a certain trip, or to step into a certain career that people would say makes X amount of abundance. But you grew up in a home where the languages around money doesn't grow on trees, or we're not wealthy, or wealthy people are not good people, or they're stuck up, or we just make this amount of money. Everyone's made this amount of money in our family. And you watched it and it got imprinted in your subconscious. So when you go to strive for that goal of financial wealth, or living in that home that's out of the norm of the home you lived in growing up, or watching your siblings or even relatives live in, you will get to a certain threshold, and then you will find a way to upper limit that threshold to bring you back down. So what we want to do, and what I'm going to share with you today, how you actually break that upper limit ceiling so that you are stepping into new patterns, new ways of thinking, new ways of experiencing life based off your dreams of your heart, and not based off the upper limiting of your mind. Does that make sense? This also happens in health. You grow up maybe in a family with aunts, your mother, and they sit around and talk about being big boned or having slow metabolism. Your little self that may have sat in that circle or just overheard them in the kitchen talking could have subconsciously taken on the belief that you're destined to have a slow metabolism, especially if you had had kids, or that you are big boned and you're just a bigger person, when actually this may not be true. And so when it goes to this belief system of this is the weight that I should have after having kids, or this is how hard it is to look really good after children or at a certain age, and then when you go to eat healthy or to break that idea and be like, I'm going to be the healthiest, sexiest version of me after 40, after 50, and you hit that like ceiling of what's been shown to you or what might be the belief system in your subconscious, you will find a way to prove yourself right and come back down. Whereas today I'm going to show you how you can break that ceiling and step into a new way of thinking, a new way of being. How exciting is this? I'm so excited. I love sharing about these topics. So take out a pen, a paper. You want to jot this down, or you're going to want to come back to the replay, because this is basically tactical, what I'm sharing with you, mixed with metaphysical. And all of it is science-based. This has been proven with my life. It's been proven with my high-level coaching clients' lives, as well as so many others around the world. But here's the main denominator between those who actually see the results versus those who don't. And that is, are you ready for this? Action. Action coupled with belief, but a lot of times you have to step into that action before you will start to believe. So for those of you who are skeptical or have these stories around worthiness or these deep-rooted subconscious beliefs that you may or may not even be aware of, all I ask you to do is step into action that I ask you to do, and then watch as the miracles start to shift, which will help you start to see and start to believe in these principles. All right, are we ready for this? Okay, the first thing I want you to do, now you can go ahead and pause this after I ask you, or you can, like I said, come back or just write it down now and do it later. The first thing I want you to do is write 5 things that you want to bring into your awareness, that you want to experience in this life. Now, these 5 things must be something that you actually feel a great affinity to, something that really matters to you. For example, some 5 things for me. I would love to tour the south of France. I would love to do it without a budget. I would like to do a yacht, eat at the finest restaurants, go with some special friends. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to write 5 of these things that you would like to experience in this lifetime. It could be a week from now. It could be a month from now. It could be years from now. You don't have to worry about that. It could be small in your mind, or it could be really big. Does not matter. What I want you to do is just write 5 things down that actually mean something to you. And when you write it down, here's the kicker. You need to write it as if it's already happened. For example, I would write, I am in the south of France. I am on a beautiful yacht that has 5 bedrooms, big table where everyone can sit and eat out underneath the sun and with the ocean spread out beyond us. I'm sitting and lounging on the couch, watching beautiful landscapes of the South of France landscape. I am with some of my favorite friends. I feel massively abundant. I'm eating at the best restaurants. I'm wearing beautiful clothing. I'm walking the streets. I'm seeing beautiful art. I am so grateful for my trip to South of France. Do you see how I did that? How I worded it in the affirmative as if it already happened. And even me just sharing that with you, whether I was writing it or vocalizing it, I could feel the emotion. I could see the streets. I could see the art. I could feel the upholstery of the chairs and the couches on the yacht. The beautiful bed that overlooked the blue of the ocean. So as much detail as you can give, I want you to do, let's say 3 to 5, just in case you're like, I don't have 5. I have a lot. So I would say 5 is a good number. You might want to write it about the relationship you want to experience. What does that feel like in your relationship? Even if you are currently in relationship, how can you take it up a notch? How can you feel more passion, more juiciness, more connection? Having them see you and feel you, and you feel so much desire and love in this relationship. Maybe it's around money. Maybe it's around the home that you want to live in. Maybe it's around a trip like I just described. Maybe it's around your health, your relationship with your children, people with your friends. So get really clear, write it in the affirmative as if it already happened, and as clear as you can. So as much detail as you can. This is your first assignment. Okay, so I'm going to allow you to do this, but I'm going to move to the next point just because we don't have a lot of time together. So I recommend taking time to do this as soon as we get off on this live time together right now. Okay, so that's your first assignment. Your second assignment is I want you to recognize how the flow works when it comes to creating your desired dream. Okay, so once you have your 5 things down, 3 to 5, you're now going to ensure that each day you're getting into flow. Now, this is talked about quite a lot in manifesting, in peace, in, being the magnet, all this concept, right? Abundance. But it's really, really important that you start to understand and own getting into flow, or getting into what I call the love frequency. Now, I'm going to share with you how you do this, okay? Because this is where most people get hung up. People usually don't get hung up on what they desire. We're desiring machines. We can kind of name what we want, but we need to get clear. We need to write it down. That's your first assignment. So how do we get into flow? How do we get into the good feeling or the love frequency I'm talking about? First, what I want you to do is I want you to take out another piece of paper and write down the things that bring you joy, the things that actually bring you joy. So what would that be? Like things like maybe it's hanging out with your children in your family room. Maybe it's watching comedy. Maybe it's walking out in nature and having time to actually enjoy nature. Maybe it's like waking up to the sunrise, sipping tea or coffee. You need to get really clear, like what brings me joy? What lights me up? Is it conversation with certain people? And who are those people? Is it trips? Is it having new experiences when it comes to travel? Is it that morning routine of sipping on the coffee? What is it? And take a minute to write it out. For me, it is baths. I love to take baths. It clears my energy. For me, it's dancing and moving, right? When I move and I dance to really good music, I feel really good. When I make love and feel connected to my partner, I also feel really good. When I'm hanging out with my favorite friends and we're just sitting around outside and the sun's on us and we're drinking tea or coffee together, totally my jam. So what is your jam? What is the thing that lights you up? Now make a list, because you're going to refer to this list whenever you need that little bit of help getting into flow, right? So that's the first thing you want to do. And I would try to at least write 5, 6 to 10 items down, okay, so that you have a variety of options. Some being things that you can do right away, other things you might have to plan, but you have your list, okay? Now, here's how you get into this love frequency or this flow so that you're a rocket fuel to your desire. The first thing is the very things you do is in the thin veil of morning. This is the secret sauce. Not a lot of people are talking about it. This does have a metaphysical tone. I've been taught by this by different healers in indigenous tribes. I've used it in my own life, and it has made a profound difference. So that's time when you're just coming into a wake state from sleeping in the morning, when you're just starting to become aware that it's a new day, you're starting to notice the items in your room, and you're like, okay, I'm awake, right? There's this thin veil between dream time and this idea of what we call the 3D world that we live in. And this is the secret spot. For 30 seconds to 1 minute, if you want, you can make it up to 5 minutes. It really doesn't matter. It's not about how long you sit in it. It's really about doing it, okay? So I really want us to get out of that perfection mindset that we have to do this for a certain amount of time or it just doesn't work. When you're in that sensation of coming out of that dream state or that fogginess of dream time into the reality, and you're aware that you're waking up, you're aware that you're ready to start a new day, stay in this spot while you lay in bed and start to see how you want your day to unfold. See yourself being powerful if you're on a coaching call or you're on a business call. See yourself being lovingly interacting between your children and your significant other. See them reflecting that back to you. Also, if you would like, in this moment, you can start to see these 5 things that we just wrote down earlier. You just start to feel like you're in it, almost like you're rubbing the genie, right, of your wishes. You're just seeing it as if it's already happening, just taking a moment in this really sweet spot of the thin veil of morning. How powerful is that? So I promise you, if you do this, you will start to notice these manifestations on speed dial, okay? So this is my juiciest thing I can give you right now. So it's up to you to actually put it into action, okay? So what I also want you to do is anytime, because this life is life, and we may be in our thin veil, right, of manifesting in the morning. We have our list of things that bring us joy. But life is life, right? So sometimes we have all the great intentions. We set our intentions. Let's say I visualized having this really epic coaching call. And I need my computer for it. And I'm coaching someone I really want to help. And let's say the computer goes out. And what can happen is I could get triggered, right? And then I'm like, shoot, it's not working, and I'm getting frustrated, and you feel the anxiety start to sweep up, right? Or if someone says something in a different scenario, or maybe an employee does something, or a coworker says something, or a child, or a significant other, and you feel that trigger. This is where your power and your wisdom comes into play to get yourself back into the love frequency, back into the power of manifesting, back into the expansion of growth. Is you're going to pull yourself out like an eagle. So imagine what an eagle can see. An eagle flies up above, and they fly high enough that the other birds can't bother it, can't peck at it, right? So it's up above. That's its gift. So you're just going to observe what happened. Observe the computer going out, observe the person who's saying this thing to you, and lean yourself away as if you're just watching it like a movie. You are not in the movie, you are not it. It is not happening to you, you're watching it happening. This will help dissipate the anxiety. This will help dissipate the feeling of trigger, frustration, so that you can move into the state of frequency of love. And then I suggest when irritation happens, just moving out and moving in to one of the things that brings joy, one of the things that you can do. Maybe you just dance, maybe you turn on your favorite music, maybe you take 5 to 10 deep breaths. Just trying to get yourself back into that frequency of love. If you do this every single day, I promise you, these 5 desires, these 5 dreams will be yours in no time. They will start to show themselves in front of you. You will start to see signs of them coming into fruition. You will start to see things, hints of it being like, whoa, this is starting to happen. This is where you get to build up your belief, where you get to go, wow, I'm starting to see that this thing, maybe it's not in full in fruition in front of me, but there's small little pieces that are lining up. Take note, say thank you for that, say I receive, and start believing even deeper in this power, this worthiness that's placed upon you to actually experience life on your terms, to experience your dreams that are in your heart. You are worthy of it. And by witnessing, by being grateful, by stepping into action, you build that worthiness muscle. You start to peel back the layers somewhere along the line that said, I'm not worthy. And you claim it. How beautiful, right? So I just gave you 1 step, 2 step, and then a few other steps to help you get into the flow state, the love frequency to manifestation, okay? Now what I want to talk to you about is how do you avoid upper limiting? We just talked about it at the beginning of the call where you might start to see progress, which you will see progress. You'll start to see the miracles, but what I want is for you to break that ceiling of upper limiting, because what the mind does is it tries to tell you something new is happening, because something new is happening. You're about ready to go on that trip. You're about to have that experience with that lover. You're about ready to have that dream home or this amount of money or that dream career, right? And if your subconscious belief or worthiness is not in alignment with it, the brain goes, new, alert, I am not safe. And you start to upper limit. You start to find a way to sabotage your success. Okay, this is what happened on a very scientific level. So I'm going to give you some steps that you can do when you start to feel that self-sabotage behavior come on. Okay, so I'm going to have you write these down. Recognize your comfort zone. This means complete practice and awareness every day. Where is my comfort zone around finances? Where is my comfort zone around intimacy in my relationship? A good way to know what your comfort zone is to just check on the belief systems that have been passed on to you around money, around the perfect home, what's appropriate for you in a relationship. Like just see what your parents were doing, your friends, and then that usually is where your comfort zone is as well. Okay, the more you can recognize this, start journaling on it. Meditation also helps. It's going to help you get to that next level, okay? So, like I said, this early morning thin veil practice in the morning is going to help you because here's what happens. The body goes where the mind tells it to. So when the mind is thinking something has already happened through your visualization as if it's already happened, and you're saying it, and you're waking up and you're getting into the love frequency, right? Doing things that bring you joy, the body will try to find ways to make it happen in the 3D realm of your awareness. How cool is that? Okay. So that's going to be your greatest way to break that comfort zone level. Okay. Then the second thing you're going to want to do is notice when you bump up against your upper limit. Okay. You're going to have to notice this. This usually happens. It's like a victory of some kind. Whatever victory you might have, or you make a decision, or you land a new job, or there's a new level of intimacy with your partner, this is the time when you need to practice more awareness. So right after this level of intimacy happens, you go on this amazing date, or you land this new job, watch what your thoughts start saying. What beliefs and behaviors come up right after. So within that day, or up to 5 to 6 days after. Okay, this is where you need to journal. Am I creating a story? Am I trying to pick a fight? Am I with my lover when the new intimacy has gone up? Am I questioning this new job? Am I creating a new stories around it? Now, I want to tell you that when you do this, it doesn't give it more power. The more you recognize these behaviors, these thoughts, right when this happens, also called vulnerability hangover, it actually dissipates its power. So this is a really powerful exercise to do right when you start to see a new level of growth within those 5 things that you're sharing, okay? So a mantra that I like to say that I think could be really helpful for you is to say, how good can I take it? How good can I take it? Whenever there's something good that happens in the realm of your dreams, constantly repeating, how good can I take it? You're letting the universe know, I can take more. I can take it. I can take all this goodness. I am worthy of this goodness. The third thing is to feel everything. After you bust through your limits, physical, emotional, mental, listen to your inner critic chatter and recognize the voice. Hear your fear voices. As you pass your upper limit and do something you thought you couldn't do or thought would never happen, the elation will feel like a drug, but it will wear off. Pay attention to what you feel as it wears off and your habit of thinking. Okay? Second guessing yourself, wondering if you are safe. Write it out. Feel it all. Okay? Look at it. Ask yourself, the story I have right now about this, is it absolutely true? Check your energy. This is going to be the biggest way for you to see if you're upper limiting. If you feel scared, anxiety, frustrated, agitated, this is your opportunity to go inward and really look at the story. Look at the upper limiting that may be coming by this agitation. Okay, number 4, practice extreme self-compassion. Just like learning to ride a bike or training your muscles and trying to get fit or just learning anything new, you're not going to be perfect at it. And training the mind in this way is a habit. It is a tool. It is things that you have to continually practice. So have compassion when you aren't awesome and you do upper limit. The biggest thing is being awareness of when you're doing it so that you can self-correct next time. But have massive compassion. Something that helps me with compassion is looking in the mirror and doing some eye gazing. So as soon as I feel that inner critic or just kind of down on myself, I get eye to eye with the mirror and really look into my eyes. And then I'll say things that are affirming, like, you are enough, you are loved, you are safe, you're powerful, you're magnetic, your dreams matter, you're worthy of your dreams. Whatever I need to say to get myself back into that self-love frequency. And then the last one, keep moving forward. Don't give up. This is a long game. This is a practice of the mind. Keep moving forward in the dreams that you have. These have been placed on your heart for a reason. You are worthy for these dreams. You are worthy of these dreams. So keep moving in that direction. I'm so excited to see what comes from all of this. Here's what I know. You writing everything down, you getting really clear as if it's already happened. You using the thin veil of morning time to really harness this frequency, this thin veil, this idea of 5D and 3D, and using this manifesting energy. And then getting into the frequency of love by doing things that you love, by showing up in love for yourself, by pulling away from things that feel triggering and just looking at them from an eagle eye perspective, and then being in complete awareness of how the mind tries to upper limit is going to be the key for you becoming a speed dialer to your dreams, for you to be an ultimate manifester. Your dreams matter. Whatever is brewing in your heart, I really hope comes into fruition soon so that we can all be the recipient of it. So what I would love for you to do, if this has been helpful for you and you're putting this into practice, I'm obsessed with hearing people's stories, especially ones where they put an intention out and they saw it come into fruition. please message me on social. Please reach out to me via my website and let me know where have you grown? Where did you expand into? How did you break that ceiling of upper limiting? I want to hear from you. I'm sending you so much love on this journey. Thank you for spending your time with me. You are worthy. Let's go.
Thank you, Danette. So I so love everything that has been presenced here today and how each of the speakers continue to reinforce the next. And, you know, yesterday I shared with you my transformation equation, that change equals vision plus choice plus action. And remember that piece of being able to choose what you believe. You can change your thoughts and then take an action in support of that choice to bring your vision to fruition. You know, or as Danette said, you know, you are the speed dialer to your dreams. And what we really are focusing on in terms of everything we desire is how we want to feel. And so remember what Amy said, you are a big deal. Remember, make your why stronger than your worry. And then in terms of taking action, play the appreciation game like Gabby invited you to. Set your clear intentions around everything that you do. Be radically honest and have fun. So you will get an email in about an hour letting you know that the replay of today is up and running. It will be going until a little while before we begin tomorrow. We'll meet back here again tomorrow at 3 o'clock Pacific time for day 4. Remember that you can hear all the speakers' books, and mine too, on the Hay House Unlimited app, the Unlimited Audio app, excuse me. And you can sign up for a free trial on your smartphone, Hay House Unlimited Audio app. And if you want to keep all of the talks that you've been hearing this week, you can do so by upgrading and making a $20 donation to the Hay Foundation. So that is what I want to leave you with today. I look forward to being with you again tomorrow. Remember to let everything marinate and percolate that you've been learning, and remember to take action. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening with me. It's the Empowering Women, hayhouse.com if you want to sign up for a free Empowering Women event. Okay, bye.